Hello, and welcome. If you're watching this, you missed day 2 of our week 16 computer science principles class. Let's get started. We've got a short warm-up I'll go over with you in just a moment, and then we spent the rest of the class working on the Decision Maker app, which you should already be fairly familiar with. I'll go through the last couple of steps on there, since those are the ones we emphasized today, and that's going to be due Friday the 18th by midnight. Please make sure you have it into me by then. Let's take a look at our warm-up. So our warm-up was a couple of if statement puzzles. The objective is to go through and try to figure out what the output would be of running this block of code. These are, of course, nested if statements, which is something that we haven't talked a whole lot about, but the idea is not crazy. As long as you get through the first gate if statement, then you get to see if the second gate if statement gets to be passed or not, and then there's an else over here. So let's see what happens with this first example. Hopefully have some ideas already. Let's see if you're correct. T is 32. 32 is less than or equal to 32, so we pass this first gate right here. We instantly output warning. So no matter what, our answer is going to include warning in it. Now let's see what happens afterwards. Is T equal to 32? Well, it is, right? So we're also going to output freezing. So this will output warning, freezing. Now there's an else statement. Since we already decided we're going to execute the code block inside the if, since this condition was met, the else is ignored. We do not check anything inside here or try to run this code in any way, and we are done. So in total, warning, freezing would be your output. Let's take a look at another example. This one has a little bit more math going on, so don't let that scare you. The math is very basic. Stare at it for a moment, see if you can get your answer. Pause me if you need to. Okay, hopefully you have some idea. Now let's go through it together and see if you're right. I is 10, J is 20. You might want to write these down on a piece of paper. For a more difficult problem, that could be useful. For this one, you can do it in your head probably. So is 10 less than or equal to 20? Yes. So we pass through the first gate, much like we did here. Then we instantly hit a second if statement. Is j divided by 2, 20 over 2, well that's 10, more than or equal to 10? Yes, it is. They're equal to. So this works out. We instantly output this line. So for sure, our answer is going to include j divided by 2, which is going to output 10. It'll do the math first, and then output it since there's no quotes. If there were quotes, it would literally output the word j divided by 2, which is not the case. Then we hit this gate. I times 2, is that less than j? Well, I times 2 is 20. 10 times 2 is 20. Is that less than 20? No, it is not. It is equal to 20. Therefore, this is not executed. So the answer in the end is 10. Hopefully you followed that, and we're going to continue doing similar puzzles in preparation for the AP exam later in the year. Now let's take a look at our Decision Maker app's last little bit here. So hopefully you guys are on your way, you've got some code. What else do you have to do? You have to get some feedback from somebody else. It doesn't have to be another student. You can ask your parent, you can ask your friend, anyone else who is a human qualifies. You're going to ask them for some feedback in terms of functionality, looks, performance, whatever they say needs to be improved about your app is what you should listen to. Then you need to pick at least one, maybe two, but at least one improvement to implement into your app. These two questions down here are really important. They're very similar, almost identical to questions from the AP project you'll be doing later in the year. So this is good practice for that. Notice that they're limited to approximately 150 words. These are very short answers. You need to make every word count. So do not say random things that are irrelevant. Focus on the prompt and make sure you thoroughly address everything within it. For the first question, you have to describe the overall purpose of the program, describe the functionality, and describe the inputs and outputs. Keep in mind that functionality and purpose are different things. The purpose of your program is what you're trying to accomplish. The functionality is how you go about it. Now, for this how piece, do not write out a play-by-play of how you coded your code. No one wants to read that. Give us a general overview. Say something along the lines of, function update screen takes in the following inputs, processes them using if statements in such and such a way, and then creates an output to be placed into this box. That's very clear, concise. It addresses both of these lines. So that's what you should shoot for. Question 2 asks you to reflect on how you adjusted your program based on feedback. You do need to do this on the AP exam as well, so you might as well think about it now. What specific ideas or changes were recommended? How did you actually make the change? And did it improve your app? You should answer these thoroughly. Again, only 150 words, so don't dilly-dally. Don't say irrelevant information here. Make every word count. Make your answer polished, concise, and thorough. Please make sure you look at the rubric before you submit your project. Especially this last line has been the #1 reason for me to take off points. You need to have comments in your code. Your comments need to go above every function definition. In that comment, you need to tell me what that function is going to do. Preconditions and postconditions would be ideal, but as long as you at least tell me what the function is doing, you're probably going to get these points. If you tell me nothing, or if you tell me this is a function, which some of you for some reason like to do, that's not sufficient. That's not really giving me any useful information. So please think about that before you submit. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll see you all later.